Hello and welcome everybody to the Reform Symposium. Today is the 11th of October 2013. We are warmly welcoming Michael Graffin to this session. And Michael will be talking to us about working in the global classroom, a teacher's journey. Would you in the audience do us a favor and give us a little bit of a background of your professional background in a one-liner into the text chat, and perhaps also add your Twitter handle. And whilst you're doing this, I would like to introduce Michael to you. Michael is the co-founder of the Global Classroom Project, and he's a member of iEARN Australia management team. He is an internationally respected global education leader. His expertise in social media and building online communities led to his recognition as an Australian School Community Teacher Champion in early 2013. And it has enabled him to present at local, national and international conferences, both virtually and in person. Now, we're going to pass over. Please leave your smiley on the map, and over to you, Michael. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you. Just a warning, my internet, whenever I have a presentation, my internet plays up, so I'm hoping that I don't drop out again. Thank you everyone for coming. I think this is probably the first time I've actually had a session with representatives from pretty much every continent. It's 9 p.m. here in Perth, Western Australia, so I know some of you, you're waking up to the day, and I'm going to be heading to bed after this. Okay, let's get started. The topic for today is really my teaching journey as a global educator, which started in early 2011 when I decided that I'd start a blog. There's a bit of background to that. I wasn't a particularly happy teacher at the time. I was a relief teacher. I was known as a substitute teacher for most of the rest of the world. And I'd left university, and I frankly didn't know how to teach. So blogging for me was an escape, to try and an outlet really, to try and share my journey and the lessons that I learnt. And that was through that blog that I started to discover what it means to be a connected educator. It took a long time. It took me a year before I had a comment on my blog. But I still remember after blogging for about 6 months or so, I discovered Twitter and this wonderful thing called EdChat. And it's funny, the people you meet in those early days and how they've really made an impact on me over the course of the past 2.5 years. One of them in particular, who's so busy moderating the RSCON behind the scenes at Clive Sir. I like to say that he has to take a great deal of responsibility for what I've become, because he was responsible for me presenting at the second Reform Symposium back in 2011, and that was the first time that I ever talked to a global audience. My first conference, the first time I'd ever shared, what I'd learnt. And little did I know that within the space of, within 6 months, I would be co-founding the Global Classroom Project. And the journey has continued to the point where was in Qatar earlier this year presenting on the world stage in the space of 2.5 years. So it's been quite a journey, and I still have no idea where it's going. So what I'm trying to do today is I'm trying to explore the lessons that I've learnt over the past couple of years, and to share the communities, the people, the projects, and the learning opportunities which define global connections. If you want to have got a question, mate, you just drop it in the chat, and I'll keep an eye on chat. When you go in global, you don't need to do this alone. I think that was the greatest lesson that I learnt over the past couple of years, is that by becoming a connected educator, you're no longer isolated. You're no longer the only person in your school who's interested in ICT. You're not the only person in your school or your wider district that is interested in doing global collaborative projects. The fact that we are meeting and working with people literally on the other side of the world, there's people in this room that I've been working with for nearly 2 years who I've never met face to face. And yet I hold them as some of my closest colleagues and closest friends. So, why should teachers start to explore global connections? And there are many reasons. And each person's journey will be different. Some of the more compelling reasons is basically the opportunity to learn beyond your classroom walls, to make global connections. We're used to making connections within our school community. Some of us find that more easier than others. We have the ability both to enrich our own learning, but also for the learning of our students, which sort of takes us to engagement. I'm tired, quite frankly, of coming into classrooms as a relief teacher I love my internet. This is the expensive, souped-up version too. Alright, can you guys hear me now? Can I just get a smiley face? Thank you. Hopefully it won't drop out too often. Yeah, given the, I don't know, first world problems. Alright. So as a global educator, I'm still a relief teacher, still a substitute teacher. So what I do is I've mainly spent my last couple of years helping other people work with colleagues to learn with the world, not just about it. Now this is a quote from because I'm definitely not an expert. You know, there are people, I admire the teachers using Skype in their classroom because I'm still scared stiff about using Skype for personal use, let alone in the classroom. And yet I'm working with educational innovators across 6 continents. And we are learning together. We're learning with our students and with our colleagues. Just because we're on opposite sides of the world doesn't mean that we can't learn and share and connect and globally. And I think one of the greatest lessons I've learnt, and that what many of our students are learning, is that global connections, global collaborations, they teach us to care. This image is from the only global project that I can personally take credit for, which is the Global Classroom Scrapbook, which is basically a travelling scrapbook that's visited, I think it's 10 classes in 8 countries over the last year and a half. This photo was actually taken on the side of the outside the Museum of Ceramic and Fish. But as you can see, this is actually the entry from Guatemala, grade 1 children at a Montessori school in Guatemala City, and their messages of hope and peace for the world. So, being a global educator is quite possibly a lifelong journey. As I've said, it's not something that you really need to do alone, and we don't expect you to do it alone. And what I'm trying to suggest is you find a way that you're comfortable with, a way to connect. Now, you might want to join an established global collaboration community. Okay, so Flat Classroom, Global Classroom, Hello Little World Skypers, iEARN, or you might want to experiment with using social media to make your connections. So it's what works for you. I've personally been involved in the Global Classroom project for some years, and only recently started to understand the extraordinary community that is iEARN, the International Education Resource Network. And I highly recommend all of these communities for people who are, particularly if you're new to this, or even if you're an experienced global collaborator, there's always something new connections, new projects, or learning opportunities. And it starts with you. It doesn't matter if you start small. It doesn't matter if you're completely new to using ICT in your classroom. It's about taking risks. It's about experimenting. As I was talking to a lady at a conference the other day, was saying it's easy to break the rules when you don't know the rules exist. It's often better not to know that the rules exist, because then you can go and do new things and push the boundaries. And that's what we do. We're a community of people who are pushing the boundaries. Pushing the boundaries of what is possible. And again, you don't have to do it alone. We've got people who will be happy to mentor you. We have the Global Classroom Mentoring Program for people who are looking for a mentor. I'm more than happy to put you in touch. And if you need help, just ask. That's what we're there for. That's how I started. And I know there's a lot of people in this room that I've been working with for some years. And it started with a conversation, and then I look back and see where the classroom chats are on. This is going to be rescheduled to 21st of October, so next week. And we are more than welcome to join. We rescheduled because of the Reform Symposium. So global collaboration it starts when you make the connection. It takes you to make that first step. You know, reach out, ask someone. You don't want to do. You know, if you need help, you know, finding connections, send us a tweet or send us an email, and we'll help you. Start small and grow from there. There are people in this room, Karen, Lynn. No, I've got, oh, Laurie's turned up. Hi, Laurie. There are people who started out small, doing small projects, small connections, and then they've gone on to do such amazing things with their students and their teachers around the world. And it's been truly astonishing, you know, collaborating with people like Lynn and Maria and Paula, because they inspire me. Thanks, Sue. I'm going to have to get in touch. So yeah, start small and grow from there. The Global Classroom started with 6 people, and we're now approaching nearly 500 people from 40 countries. Don't worry, I didn't expect that to happen. You know, so from little things, big things grow. Is one of my favourite, and it's truly the case with global connections. You don't know where your global journeys will take you. And this is perhaps the most important part, sharing your stories. I've been lucky enough and privileged enough to share my story on stage in front of 600 people in the conference at Qatar, which was one of the most extraordinary experiences I've ever had. You know, I blog about what I do. I share it at conferences, and it's about making your voice heard. Now, you come to conferences like RSCON, you come to school communities, share your stories. Not everybody will be receptive, but those people who are willing to take that next step, they're the people that you want to try and connect with and work with. And you'll be amazed at what, you know, sharing your stories, what it does and where it can lead. In fact, that's what we're actually going to give you a bit of a chance to share your story, your experiences and your advice for global educators. I've been noticing quite a few people have been putting it into the chat, which is fantastic. But what I'd like to do is to drop the mic in a moment and give you the microphone, and you should be able to write on the slides using the little A tool on your toolbars. And yeah, we'd like you to share your stories. So I'll drop the mic, and I think if Heike's tuned in, we might, if you put your hand up, that might make it a bit easier for us to moderate. Alright, I've given mic permissions. Okay, I'll drop the mic, give it over to Craig, and if anyone else wants to talk, just put your hand up, please. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, or wherever else you're at. I actually just didn't have permission to be able to type on the slide itself. That's why I just raised my hand. Looks like some people are putting on some great ideas here. I'm about 3 months into Twitter at this point. That's really my connection at this point in learning with other global educators. Wasn't familiar with this site, Global Classroom Project, so I'm going to have to explore a little bit more. I'll turn it back on over to our awesome presenter and moderator. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. I have checked. You should have slide permission. Just double checking. You should have the toolbar on the side. And if you want to drop in your Twitter handle into the chat, that'll be good too. All right, let's see if we can get a few other people talking. I know there's quite a few people with stories to tell here. I'm not going to name drop, I might have to. We'll see how. There we go.
Hi, Michael.
There's plenty of
How are
time.
you, Teresa? Hi. I wondered if I could share the inspiration, really, that Global Classroom has been for us. I'm in the higher education sector in the UK, and Michael very kindly agreed to an interview with me a while ago for an online conference that we were doing, particularly around language education. And the Global Classroom Network was a real inspiration. It's so important that we do help young people to connect with others like themselves across the world and start to understand. And the work of Global Classroom is just amazing.
Thanks, Teresa. It's been wonderful working with you over the last year or so, and we look forward to working with you in future. We've still got another 5 to 10 minutes, so if people would like to take up the mic, you're more than welcome. I know it's scary, but let's have a go. The microphone buttons under audio and video on the top left.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hello. I just wanted to share that Michael was the one who introduced me to the Hello Little World people without even knowing who I was. And that was just the beginning. And this is amazing how it empowers you as an educator to know that you are not alone over there, and that that you're doing what you're doing is really worth. And well, I just wanted to thank him for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. As I dropped in the chat there, I think that's actually the first time I've heard your voice. And considering I've known you for quite some time, that's what the joys of these conferences. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, I'm more than happy for people to talk. That's what these sessions are designed for. So if anyone else wants to talk, just drop me a line in chat. It might be good if we can hear from LinkedIn. Hint, hint.
May I? Can you hear me?
Excuses. All right.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say very quickly that what I enjoyed, first it was great to meet Michael and the Global Classroom Project, but I have to share with you how wonderful how good I feel when I see the excitement on the students' faces when we actually connect with people from all over the world. I've taken part in the Scrapbook Project, and they were just so thrilled to be a part of that and to present something knowing that what they were doing was going to travel the world and other people would value their work. This week, we've also done a quick video chat with Professor Jared Dolphin, if I'm not mistaken, Fosson, I believe, who's from Utah. And we had a quick chat and we introduced our schools. And again, my students were so thrilled and they were so happy to be doing that. The school is still learning about the project. The school where I work is a language institute. And they didn't know I was involved in any of this. And they were also very excited to see what was happening. And I'm hoping we have more opportunities for this type of work, which I think is beautiful. And yeah, and I'm all for it. And I congratulate everyone involved. And I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Thank you, Lou. I'm at risk of dropping out. I'm going to try and put the video on briefly. I just want to see if you recognize this. Now, let's have a look. Lou might recognize this. This is the Global Classroom Scrapbook. So hopefully that comes through. So this is our Guatemalan section. This one, I'll just drop the video. This scrapbook has actually travelled, circumnavigated the globe, or come close to it, visiting Brazil, Guatemala, Honduras, the United States. Went to the United States twice. And it also got lost in Honduras for 6 weeks. Long story. We wanted to kill someone, but we decided that we better not. Alright. It's absolutely fantastic to see and listen to people's stories, and that's what I've always believed in. The power of the global connections is in the power of sharing stories, and I thank you very much for doing that and coming here today. To the person who has put in the asking around the world for chocolate samples, they better look out for waters. We'll probably steal it. Okay. I've just dropped in some links for people who are interested in learning more. You're most welcome to come and join us for Global Classroom 2013-14. We are very keen to build our connections in the Middle East, Europe and Asia. So if you are in those we might be interested, please send them to us. That would be absolutely amazing. Each of these communities provides a platform, a community, and projects for people who are learning, who are interested in learning more to how to flatten their classroom walls, and remembering that this is a journey which can take you places. It's taken me to Qatar. It's taken me, it'll take me to the other side of Sydney next year, hopefully. And it's been an incredible journey, and one that I'm very glad that I'm taking. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. It's been greatly appreciated, because returning to RSCON in a way has been returning to where it all began. It's hard to believe how much a person can change in the space of 2.5 years. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. So thank you for coming. If anyone wants to talk at the end, that's fine. I'll drop the mic. Thank you.